We probably picture tiny shiny things in the sky at night when we think of stars. That's how they look from Earth, but you can see that stars aren't small. In fact, Betelgeuse, one of the biggest stars, is a lot bigger than our Sun. Scientists have had no idea what this star is for years. However, Betelgeuse has been experiencing a more disturbing event lately, which has made scientists and other knowledgeable people very worried. The James Webb telescope says that Betelgeuse will soon be destroyed. In this article, we'll look at the scary details of this new event and how it will affect our galaxy and our lives here on Earth. Makaku, a scientist, said that Betelgeuse is a cosmic wonder and a big star that has fascinated cosmologists for a long time. Tmy, a Greek scientist, was the first person to discover it. We can see this star from Earth in the winter because it is so big. This star is probably something you've seen or heard of if you're into constellations. The star that stands out in the upper left corner of Orion is the reddish-orange one. In other words, this star is very old, yet it is still one of the brightest in the night sky. An interesting fact about Betelgeuse is that its brightness doesn't stay the same. One of the intriguing things about this star is that it changes shape, but it's not the only one. Let's look at some of the other unique things about Betelgeuse. A lot of the stars you see at night are very far away from Earth. Earth is 4.2 light years from the nearest star. If you still don't get what light years mean, think about it this way. Imagine traveling through space at light speed for a whole year. A light year is the same as 186,000 miles per second, which is how far light goes in 1 year. There are a lot of miles between them. Being 4 light years away means that the star is billions of miles away from Earth, but some stars are even farther, and Betelgeuse is one of them. Being 600 light years away from Earth means that even if you could travel at the speed of light, it would still take 600 years to get there. Not even our fastest spaceships can move that fast. It's still very bright in the sky though. Betelgeuse is so bright even though it is far away. This is because of its size and brightness, among other things. The size of Betelgeuse is about 500 times that of the Sun, and it is thought to have a radius about 1,000 times that of the Sun. Betelgeuse is so big that it looks like a disk when seen through powerful binoculars, while other stars just look like points of light. Scientists think that reactions in the top layers of its atmosphere cause it to look like a disk. It takes between 12 and 19 solar masses to measure how heavy Betelgeuse is. Astronomers use the solar mass as a common unit of mass, where one solar mass is equal to 2 times 10 to the power of 30 kilograms. Because there are no other planets orbiting Betelgeuse to compare it to, scientists can't say for sure how heavy it is. It is true that Betelgeuse is at least 12 times heavier than our Sun, but we can't measure it directly from Earth. When it comes to light, Betelgeuse ranges between +0 and +1.6. In simple terms, Betelgeuse is 16,000 times brighter than the Sun, which is why people call it the red giant. However, Betelgeuse's brightness changes because it pulses. In other words, Betelgeuse grows and shrinks. It gets brighter when it grows and dimmer when it contracts. This process can last anywhere from 10 to 100 days or even longer. Betelgeuse is also unique because its surface is covered with dark magnetic spots where the magnetic field is much stronger than on the rest of the surface. These strong magnetic spots prevent hot gas from moving to the star's outer surface, which makes those areas cooler. Because it has so many more of these spots than the Sun, Betelgeuse is cooler than the Sun, even though it's bigger and brighter. The Sun also has dark magnetic spots, but Betelgeuse's spots are bigger and more numerous. To give you an idea, Betelgeuse's spots can be twice as large as Earth. The magnetic field around Betelgeuse is 1,000 times stronger than the Sun's. The gases on the surface of Betelgeuse look like they are forming loops or arcs when seen through a lens because of this strong magnetic field. The surface of Betelgeuse is about 3,500 Kelvin, which is much cooler than the Sun. The dim red color of Betelgeuse is partly due to its low temperature. It wasn't always red though. Betelgeuse was yellow about 2 million years ago, much like our Sun is now. Over time, its color changed slowly to an orange-red, and around 2,000 years ago, it became the red star we see today. Some experts believe that Betelgeuse is nearing the end of its life due to this color change. It gives off about 7,500 times more energy than the Sun. If it were closer and still in its prime, Betelgeuse would have posed a real threat to our Sun. Betelgeuse can be seen with the human eye even though it is 600 light-years away. Meanwhile, our Sun is only 8.3 light-minutes from Earth, which is why it has such a big impact on our planet. If Betelgeuse were closer, we might be able to see it during the day. However, if it replaced our Sun, it would be so big that it would push Earth and the 4 closest planets out of the way. Betelgeuse also emits much more energy than the Sun, so even if it fit in the Sun's place, it would not be a good star for Earth. Maybe it was never meant to be our Sun but instead was meant to be a distant red giant for us to observe from afar. Since Betelgeuse is so far from Earth, its red light remains strong. Light waves from objects and galaxies are changing as the universe constantly expands, with longer wavelengths traveling farther. Because of this, from far away, only red light can be seen since blue light fades due to its shorter wavelength. Betelgeuse has been fascinating over the years, but one thing remains clear. It is an old star nearing the end of its life. As stars age, the hydrogen in them changes into helium through a process called nuclear fusion, which turns stars red. This is when a star slowly transforms into what scientists call a red giant. Heavier stars like Betelgeuse age faster than lighter stars due to their greater mass. Betelgeuse's irregular pulses and changes in brightness are further proof that it is close to its end. Betelgeuse began dimming in 2019, and by February 2021, it was at its dimmest ever. This led scientists to worry that the star was nearing its death. But how do stars end? When stars reach the end of their lives, they explode in a massive, powerful blast known as a supernova. During a supernova, a huge amount of energy is released into space, creating one of the most incredible events in the universe. Supernovas are classified into two types, Type 1 and Type 2. A Type 1 supernova occurs when the remains of a low-mass star gather matter from a nearby star until they reach a limit that triggers a nuclear reaction, leading to an explosion. High-mass stars like Betelgeuse go supernova when they run out of fuel and can no longer hold their structure. This causes the star to explode, releasing a tremendous amount of energy. Most Type 2 supernovas emit light, heat, and radiation, and some are so powerful they obliterate everything in their path. A Type 2 supernova can sometimes emit so much light that it is visible across vast distances in the universe, that it makes all the other stars in its galaxy look faint. Heavy elements like iron, nickel, and gold are also made by Type 2 supernova blasts. During the high-pressure, high-temperature reaction, these metals are produced when the star bursts and are spread out into space. Since they are dispersed, they help make new stars and worlds. What kind of explosion do you think Betelgeuse will experience? Of course, a Type 2. Michio Kaku is concerned about this. It's possible that Betelgeuse will blow up soon. Is this good or bad news? I guess it will depend on how things unfold. In 1604, the last supernova in our galaxy was observed. Supernovas are usually very beautiful and create bright colors. Despite their beauty, you shouldn't get too close to them as they can be deadly. What would happen if the explosion from Betelgeuse reached Earth? Supernovas all emit high-energy light. A typical supernova sends out a burst of beta energy that is 1,000 times stronger than the sun's radiation. You already know how harmful the sun's rays can be, especially with the concerns around global warming. Now imagine something 1,000 times worse. The radiation from a supernova could damage the ozone layer, and the shock wave alone could be catastrophic. It could be another extinction-level event if it hit Earth, potentially wiping out almost all life on the surface. Some scientists think that the only way for people to survive such a radiation blast is to go underground, as Earth's surface is the only barrier that can absorb this type of radiation. While we might be safe if we adapted to live underground, some cosmologists and experts believe we don't need to worry about Betelgeuse at all. They argue that since Betelgeuse is so far away, we are safe. But here's the thing. Science changes constantly, and each day we learn something new about the universe. For example, the James Webb telescope recently discovered 6 very large galaxies in space, each the size of our own Milky Way. Scientists had not thought galaxies this large could exist until recently, forcing them to reconsider everything they knew about the universe. This makes us question if our belief that Betelgeuse's supernova is not too close to us is entirely accurate. Since we've only been able to study Betelgeuse with new technologies like the JWST, we're not sure of its full potential. Betelgeuse's pulsations are already fascinating, and its supernova could be even more surprising. Particles from a Betelgeuse explosion could reach Earth faster than light, or the shock wave from the explosion might trigger another nearby star like Capella, which is only 43 light-years away, to erupt on its own. If a nearby star erupted, Earth would definitely be affected. But let's say the blast doesn't hit us and we're safe. What other effects could we experience after Betelgeuse explodes? In most cases, it would be light effects. A supernova primarily emits light and energy, so wherever you are on Earth, you would likely see Betelgeuse's bright light in the sky. Scientists think that a big star like Betelgeuse could emit a burst of light bright enough to be seen even during the day. It would be like seeing a small, bright star close to the sun. But that's not all. People also think that Betelgeuse's supernova might shine brighter than the moon. The bright light from a Type 2 supernova doesn't last forever, so we wouldn't end up with 2 moons. Typically, the light lasts between 2 weeks and a few months. Betelgeuse's supernova might shine brightly for at least 2 months, and after that it would fade away. What will happen to Betelgeuse after it explodes? Betelgeuse is expected to leave behind a black hole in the years following the explosion. Black holes often form when massive stars explode. If a black hole doesn't form, Betelgeuse will leave behind a patch of dim light, which will fade over a few years. The final question is how soon Betelgeuse will explode. We're not sure. Some experts think the supernova could happen 1,000 years from now, but because the star is dimming and pulsing, these estimates might be incorrect. Michio Kaku, a famous theoretical physicist, sounded the alarm, suggesting that Betelgeuse may be close to collapsing. It might happen in the next 100 years, 10 years, or even 2 years. When scientists first noticed that Betelgeuse was dimming in 2019, they discovered that the star's top had actually exploded, sending a large chunk of itself into space. We don't know for certain, but that may have been a sign that the supernova is imminent. We can only wait and see. Thank you for reading. Click on the thumbnail of the movie now on your screen to watch another exciting episode. I'll see you there.